Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Big Blend Radio. You know, Nancy and I travel full-time on our Love Your Parks tour, going to different parks and public lands across the country, and also publish Parks and Travel magazine. The newest one is out, focusing on the Pacific Northwest to the Desert Southwest. So check that out at nationalparktraveling.com. So when we talk about parks and public lands, we're excited to welcome back Ivan Levin. He is the Director of Strategic Partnerships and Communications for the National Park Trust. And this awesome organization is celebrating a big anniversary this year, 40 years. You're making me feel a little younger, maybe. I don't know. But everyone, go to parktrust.org. So welcome back, Ivan. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Hey, listen, we're in the mountains. We're in the Appalachian country in the Blue Ridge Mountains, right off Blue Ridge, the Blue Ridge Parkway, and real close to Smoky Mountains National Park, one of the most popular parks. And I think you guys have done some work in Appalachian land, haven't you?
We have
over the 40 years.
We've done quite a bit of work, actually, not only just around Appalachia, but specifically we have, I think, 4 or more projects just on the Appalachian Trail alone, which, as you know, goes from Georgia to Maine. So yeah, we've done a lot of work on the Appalachian corridor.
That's awesome, because it's important. The corridor, I think it's really great that you bring that up, because we see this encroaching of, civilization onto the natural lands. So I think, isn't there a kind of a push to get some extra buffer for the natural areas, for especially also watching our foot traffic as people hiking the trail?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the work that we do actually on national trails is not only expanding that corridor, so that there's, obviously more view shed on either side of those trails. But just as an example, not on the Appalachian, but the North Country Trail, we're working with them to protect a piece of land that is actually going to allow foot traffic to not go on the highway and actually stay on the trail. So it's a huge safety matter, issue with the North Country Trail. So we're looking forward to completing that project in 2023, because that not only is a huge safety issue, but obviously, helping to protect that trail as well.
And this protection part is kind of how you guys got started. Let's talk about 40 years, wind those clocks back 40 years. And yeah, so that got started through NPCA, the National Parks Conservation Association, kind of got us nudged to do this tour of ours with their work. But you guys were starting off with actually protecting land, and then now into stewardship.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It really did start 40 years ago. NPCA, National Park Conservation Association, really was focusing on park preservation. And as they created kind of this program under NPCA, the National Park Trust, the work just continued to expand. They were successful in their park preservation work and acquiring land that was adjacent to parks and giving that to the National Park Service to protect that land forever. We were successful in that work 40 years ago. And as that need grew, there was a clear need for the National Park Trust to become a separate 501c3 nonprofit entity. And so that happened in 1990. So about, 7 years later or so, it took about that time for the nonprofit to go from a program to really its own standing on its own legs organization.
Wow. And then, I was looking at all the programs. You have this amazing timeline. When people go to parkstrust.org, go to the timeline, because and I love that, by the way. That's some geeky coolness you guys put together. I love that.
Yeah, thanks. No, it is really amazing to see it visually, that history in front of you. For example, just going back to when we started, some people don't realize that we were the organization that helped establish Tallgrass Prairie National Preserve. Yeah. That's a big deal, protecting that prairie ecosystem, and the fact that we could have a role in that with other amazing partners. That's a big pillar in our history that you can read about, on our timeline. Same with our very first land project, was at Gates of the Arctic National Park and Preserve. And so again, some big parks that we had some big roles in really early on. And so it's really great to see those in that timeline. and those kind of pillars in our timeline as you explore kind of our story. And so we've set it up where, you know, if you want to read about our story, you can definitely do that. I think there's a beautiful story there that really tells you about, you know, where we came from and where we are and where we're going, or where we hope to go. But then visually, you can really explore our history and click on links and learn about when those awards were established that we've given out for many years now, or when we did different significant land projects in our history, not only things like, you know, helping establish Tallgrass Prairie, but, you know, helping save the historic ship in San Francisco Maritime, or helping build a desert tortoise, protection habitat in the Mojave Preserve. So many amazing things that we've done in our history just in park preservation.
But that's inspiring when you think about how you've really now focused on land stewardship. Getting the stewards, like you've got veterans program, Buddy the Bison, who has his own National Geographic book. He's very cute.
Thank you.
You've got that for kids, but I've also the Kids to Park Day. We want to talk about that coming up. But it's stewardship, but this is what's so important about celebrating these landmarks anniversaries is this is about actual stewards going out there and making it happen. So it's inspiring for youth to look at it and go, oh, one day maybe I'll be doing that as my career, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, and so as we were, you know, building this amazing base of being known for park preservation, I think you can read in our story that our executive director and our board chair actually went down and met with the first African-American director of the National Park Service, Robert Stanton. And in that conversation, he basically said, what you do is amazing, but if we really want to make an impact in the future, you've got to think about kids, and not only just kids in general in that next generation, but especially the kids that don't have the access to parks and public lands, and being able to explore those places and have those experiences young, so that they carry with them, you know, as they age. And so it was really, again, that moment in time in 2008 when the light bulb went off. And that's when shortly thereafter, Buddy Bison was established. And Buddy Bison started as, you know, kind of almost this idea of taking Buddy Bison with you, you know, to help explore parks. And it grew into being our woolly mascot still today, and being really the mascot of our youth programs, the programs like our Buddy Bison School program that are all about connecting kids, specifically in that program, Title I kids, to local parks and park experiences in a deep, meaningful, memorable way.
When you say Title I kids, can we explain what that is for some who may
that's
not
where
know?
40% or more of the population is at free or reduced lunch. And so those are schools that are typically more in need, or in areas that are in more need, or don't have the resources to do extracurricular activities or field trips. And so what we're able to do is really help those schools use parks as classrooms. You know, it's right outside their door. And so that ability to really allow teachers and schools and administrations to be part of the program, and then, you know, drink the Kool-Aid really on how they can engage with the outdoors in such a deep way and an easy way, really, when they get, you know, when they understand how to do it, that's where we've seen that success and those, you know, meaningful moments.
And Kids to Parks Day, that's coming up May 20th, right? I think off the top of my head.
It is, May 20th, the 13th annual National Kids to Parks Day, which again, you can read about in our timeline, but that is the day that we kind of raise our flag and say, all kids and families and everyone, you know, come out and go out to your local park, your state park, your national park. You know, there are 424 national park sites across the country. Only 63 of those are capital N, capital P national parks. There are so many parks that are the less traveled parks, the parks that you know, want people to come and hear their stories, and their natural places, cultural places all over the country. And so that's really our day to say, hey, come explore a park, and then come back and do it again.
Yeah, you know, as we travel, we're redoing our map because I know we're over 1,000, 1,500 parks that we've been to. You know, it's kind of crazy, but we're doing a lot more in urban parks, and we're seeing the value of this. Just on our way, we were in Charlotte, North Carolina, coming up to Burnsville, where we are now, and we stopped in a town called Gastonia, because you know how we are. They get the Parks app. Everybody get the Park Passport app, right? Get on there, see these parks, and there's this one Rankin Lake or Lake Rankin. And we're like, I know it's not, it's winter, so the trees aren't full out, but you see birds. There were seagulls. What are you doing out in the lake in the middle, like outside Charlotte, North Carolina? There were seagulls and cormorants, and then we watched people walk the entire perimeter of the lake. People were in their cars warming up, and then a couple of ladies, they were walking at the very end. They busted out into a run to their cars. They're like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do that little bit of fast. And I was watching this, Nancy and I were sitting there having our coffee for breakfast and did a little walking and hung out with the Canada geese. And I'm like, this is so crucial to watch these women do this, kind of teamwork. And I'm like, if you don't have that in your community, how do we get healthy? How do we breathe that air? How do we challenge ourselves? How do we connect with nature? And the geese were like almost cheering them on, It's like, go ladies, run, Forrest.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm so glad that you mentioned the Park Passport app, because that's really the magic of the app. It's meant for people to kind of open up at home, and right from the palm of your hand, you can discover the park down the street that you didn't know was there. And you can kind of start to have fun with it. You can track how many times you visited that park, what activities you did there. You can upload photos that you can make private or share with others, so that others can see that experience and want to come to that park as well. So that Park Passport app is great all year long, especially on Kids to Parks Day when you're looking for a new place, to explore. And I also want to say that message that you just said about health and wellness is really important. And not only do we express that, and it's a pillar, in fact, of all of our programs, but specifically as we've grown our work with the military community, we have really found the power and the messaging behind using parks as a way to achieve, health and wellness and improve health and wellness overall, not only for individuals, and in this case, the service members, but their families as well. And how they can use parks to incorporate into, fitness, routines or requirements that they need for serving in the branches that they might be in, or for National Guard and Reserve families when they have their off time with their family members, what parks can they go to? And so we have found that health and wellness message for physical health, psychological health, mental health, all the healths, parks really do help improve your overall health and wellness. And so I'm so glad you mentioned that.
And many of them are ADA compliant. They have some kind of trail you can go to. I mean, it's like if you go to Sequoia National Park, you can go on the Big Trees Trail around Round Meadow and witness these giant wonders, these giant sequoia trees, even if you're in your wheelchair or you're a mom or dad pushing a kid in a stroller.
Absolutely.
We've seen people be able to see some of the wonders of our country in parks, like you said, big or small, that, there's fitness stations in some of these parks too, that I think, so there's a lot that we can be doing. So I love that you're working with the military. I know you've got some veterans programs too. So that's exciting. So do we get cake this year? I mean, what's going on? 40 years? What do we get cake?
Yeah, I think there's going to be so many opportunities for cake. We're all going to have to do our cake walks after the cake. We have a lot of exciting things planned, throughout the year. We've got a couple different awards that we'll be giving out that, we'll be sharing more information about. We've definitely got some events tied to Kids to Parks Day and some other just events throughout the year celebrating our 40th anniversary and all the different ways that we work with people, whether that's through our college programs, which right now we're working with 9 different colleges, and we have 17 amazing college ambassadors that we're working with. 4 of those schools are historically Black colleges that we're working with to not only help establish actual outdoor clubs and programs on these campuses, but also provide amazing opportunities to local parks and working with those HBCU communities. So whether it's through college or military or our Buddy Bison program, or just engaging, people in general through Kids to Parks Day or other programs that we offer, we'll be celebrating the 40th anniversary and kind of just reminding people to get outside, be good stewards, and remember to, protect the land and also be good stewards of the land as well.
I want to say, like, Earth Day is coming up. We've got April is also National Parks Week. We've got what about
Great Outdoors Month is in June.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We've got all these, celebrations that we can get behind. World Wetlands Day coming up in February 2nd. I would like to see more businesses get behind what we need for land, and maybe it's volunteering, maybe instead of working on that extra report that end of Friday, none of us really want to work on a Friday afternoon. Let's all go do a volunteer project for teamwork instead of doing the, who we don't want to be crammed in a hotel room for stuff like that. We want to go outside, so I
Right.
feel like I'd like to see corporate and these bigger businesses that do these teamwork and these conferences and conventions and everything, maybe look at their teamwork projects, be more and volunteer and get outside.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we have, some of our partners, I know that they definitely like to get some of our corporate partners do like to get their employees out, but we're always looking for more partners. So if there's anyone out there that like to get your employees out and connected to parks, we'd love to work with you on figuring out how's the best way to do that. But no, I couldn't agree more. And I think you do see, some companies do offer, 1/3 Fridays off or different types of programs that do focus on take advantage of that opportunity to focus on you and your health. But I agree, we need to see a lot more of that, and we'd love to help make it happen.
Where is your next park that you're going to?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Let's see, where is the next park that I'm headed to that I know of? We've got some amazing outings planned this year, actually, that I'm really excited about. It looks like Cabrillo National Monument, which I've never been
Oh
to
yeah,
in San Diego.
it's one of our first ones, and it was our
Yeah.
backyard when we lived in San Diego. Oh my gosh. Okay, so history. You've got Cabrillo, the explorer history. You have got Native American history. You've got the actual port. You're going to see San Diego. Amazing trails, depending on when you go. It's whale watching season, hummingbirds, of course, the beach tide pools, wildflowers. You've got the
Yeah.
lighthouse. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
I get excited.
No, I'm excited too, actually. That's what we're taking through one of our military programs and working with our amazing partners, our military kids. We're taking National Guard and Reserve families tide pooling and spending the day with Rangers tide pooling at the monument in San
You're gonna
Diego.
love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but I'm also some of those through that program alone, Mount Rainier, which I've never been to.
Oh,
Actually, I've
dude,
been to amazing places. I've never been to Mount Rainier.
Oh
So
my
I'm
gosh, you
excited
must
about that
go.
one. And Biscayne, actually, as well. I've done Everglades, I've done other parks in that area, but I've never actually been to Biscayne National Park. So I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Oh, and that's important. We haven't done Biscayne either. We've done Everglades, but I know that Biscayne is under a lot of threats for
Yeah.
oil drilling, all kinds of things, and it's an underwater park pretty much.
It is, and they want people to come. I think that's the message that I really learned from working with them is not only do they have amazing staff and an amazing superintendent, but they want people, especially South Floridians, to come and explore and discover Biscayne. I mean, I think it's the backyard for so many people in that part of the world, and they just want people to come experience it. So definitely, that's something that we're looking forward to helping them do is connect local families to a local park for them, Biscayne.
And then also understand the water situation that connects to the Everglades. I mean, it really is this ecosystem. Going back to Mount Rainier, when are you going there? What time frame?
Well, I think maybe summer, but interesting that you just said that about the waters. I just learned that Mount Rainier has no native fish because there's no native fish that are actually from the park because this is just my understanding. So if I'm wrong out there, world, please forgive me. That Mount Rainier is actually the headwaters for so many streams and rivers. That the fish actually are further downstream, and there aren't really native fish native to Mount Rainier. At least that's one little fun fact that I thought was interesting this week.
Mount Rainier is magical. When we first went there, I think it was park number 5 for us, 4 or 5 or 6, and we were like, oh, we were doing a radio thing for a garden expo. That's how this whole thing started. Was the Everglades, and then there, and we go in there, and I mean, we went to a place, Paradise Meadow. I mean, you couldn't, it is paradise. There are just blankets of wildflowers. I mean, the biodiversity of flowers, and then you're in meadows, and then you hike like part of the Wonderland Trail, and you're up, and there's like glaciers and then a whole kind of different kind of
that's amazing.
The plants. And we were with this plant specialist lady who went with us, and she's on the home and garden thing, and she's going, okay, this plant here is what we produce in nurseries because we can't grow this at this altitude, right? So we adapt. We were looking at this and trying to make it as close as we can to the it's just it was crazy because this amazing thing, but you are going to absolutely freak out. And when you talk about that water, I mean, when you see that water crashing through on the streams and the rivers,
Mhm.
it is mind blowing. They have hot springs there, like long my okay, no, I get excited. So
So
I
isn't it
can have
crazy
a
to
good
think though
time.
that all that water it starts there, like they're the headwaters.
Yeah.
So much of that, I mean, that's what's amazing is people are always like, well, where does that water start from? That's where it starts. And so yeah, an incredible park I'm looking forward to. So many great places
Wow.
that we're fortunate enough to get to go to. I'm even looking, we have an event coming up in the fall at on the St. Croix National Scenic Waterway, which I'm in Wisconsin, which I've never been to, on that waterway. So I'm really looking forward to some of that time on the river as well.
We may go there actually. We're going to Wisconsin this March. I don't know why we're going in March, but I'll let you know if we freeze our butts
Yeah,
off,
yeah.
but we
I don't
might,
know if
but
it's
we're
quite
going back.
spring there in March, but
I'll find out, but we're going up there in a few weeks. Well, in a month, we'll be up there and we can't wait because that's a whole different thing. And we're hearing things like in Michigan, like the wolves are coming back better. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I'm excited. So everyone's got to connect with you and watch what you're doing throughout the year. So everyone, parktrust.org is the website. Can people become members? How can people help you as you progress through the next 40 years?
yeah, we do not have a membership, but it's what looking at ways to support. One, we want to get to know you, so reach out. Send one of us an email. If you have questions, I'd love to tell you more about our programs. But donate. If you can donate to the Park Trust, we'd love to obviously work with you in that way, and that would be wonderful. But there's all kinds of different ways kind of laid out. We have a Bison Legacy Society. If you're thinking about long-term planning, there's all sorts of different ways that you can support the Park Trust. So definitely check out our website and definitely read our story and go through that virtual timeline. There's kind of 40 dates on that timeline, 40 years, 40 important stories that represent our history. And I think it'll really help you think about who we are and where we're going in the future, which is just protecting more parks and getting more people outside and becoming more stewards.
It's exciting, and everyone's social media too. That's another great way as well, is to connect. You guys always do a daily post on parks, and I love
Yeah. Please
following you
check us
guys
out.
on that.
We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on TikTok,
Are
LinkedIn.
you
So,
TikToking?
yeah, we're
I
TikToking.
want tide pool footage.
Yeah, we're doing it all. No, check it. Actually, if you do go to our TikTok, we've got all sorts of footage from past trips from 2022, and we'll just be continuing to add, some beautiful scenes to some good music, and hopefully you enjoy it. So yeah, check us out.
Awesome. Everyone, again, parktrust.org. Keep up with us here at bigblendradio.com. We air daily. And of course, nationalparktraveling.com. Our new magazine is out and covers even Olympic National Parks, the first story in there. And you guys are connected to that park too, in preservation. So always a good connection. Thanks so much, Ivan.
Thank you so much for having me.